Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us. We're here again for another weekly roundup with Immutable Holdings. As always, my name is Billy Baxter. I'm the head of corporate development and operations.
And I'm Jordan Freed, chairman and CEO.
Well, hey, Jordan, I know we talked last time about being cautiously optimistic here, but so far, as we're now 3 weeks into January, a lot of good signals out there as far as things that are happening in the digital asset like ecosystem there.
A lot of good things happening.
Yeah. And I guess the big things here is, we're kind of back to kind of pre-March, pre-FTX price levels. We're seeing NFT volumes start to tick up, and just an overall kind of renewed interest into the space, if we want to call it. But one thing I wanted to maybe kick things off with, because it has a nice dovetail into what we're doing with Immutable, NFT.com, et cetera, is this past week, we saw two reports come out. One from Alchemy, the kind of large infrastructure provider within Web3. Think of them as like the AWS for Web3.
Yep.
And also Electric Capital, a technically focused venture capital firm. Both of them released their Web3 developer reports. And the reason I want to just kind of highlight this is that it seems to be that these kind of emphasize what we have been talking about over the past couple of weeks, is that while markets have, kind of pulled back, there's still interest in the space. And then what these reports highlighted was the fact that developer activity hasn't stopped. If anything, it's actually increased in quarter four of 2022. And there appears to be a, good number of folks that are building, or as I like to always say, Bidler season is underway. So I'm curious to get your kind of takes on this. And then also, I think this is a good chance for us to kind of talk about some of the things we're doing at Immutable.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of what we've talked about on previous updates, but from Immutable's perspective, there's a lot of companies like us that capitalized before the market downturn. And even in a market where fewer people are buying NFTs or fewer people are buying and selling cryptocurrencies, there's still well-funded companies that are shipping new features on a regular basis. And I mean, folks like Alchemy and Electric Capital are in really good positions to be able to get some of that data. A lot of this data, by the way, is publicly available. You don't really need Alchemy. You can look at some of the blockchain explorers. You can follow projects directly on their GitHub repositories and see some of like the developer contributions. The layer one protocol that I was part of the founding team of just this past week, Hedera Hashgraph, hit new all-time highs in sustained transactions per second, well over 500 sustained transactions per second, I believe, for over a 24-hour period through new enterprise deployment of a use case on that particular blockchain. So again, all of this is just to say that if you ignore the price speculation and what's happening with Bitcoin and what's happening with the floor price of these NFT projects, and just look at who's using these networks, we are seeing sustained high levels of new output from engineering teams, and that's reassuring. That obviously makes me optimistic. Obviously, I'm not surprised, Billy. This is what we've been saying for a really long time. We're one of the teams that continues to ship, so we're in good company. The industry moves forward.
Totally. And just to kind of read a quote here from the Electric Capital's developer report. Why developers? Why does that matter, right? So basically, developers are an early leading indicator of the value creation in emerging platforms and where people are spending their time building. And basically, more time people are spent building, the more likelihood that killer applications are being developed, that ultimately value end users. So hence the reason why this is a really kind of exciting development to kind of hear, in spite of all the kind of bad news that took place in 2022.
Yeah, I just want to interject. You know what I love about this process is we're going to be able to look back at these videos a year from now, Billy, and just be like, look at these weekly updates and look at that incremental progress that we made every single week. It's almost like journaling. I journal every single day, and it's amazing to go back to look at journal entries from a really long time ago and be like, wow, I was such a different person, or I was in such a different place in my life, and look at all the progress you've made. I'm really excited for a year from now or 2 years from now to be able to look back and be like, whoa, Billy, remember that conversation at the end of 2022 or the beginning of 2023 where there was all this uncertainty, but we just continue to keep our heads down and execute. And, I'm hoping that, while these are sparsely consumed today, these updates, we're actually putting them out there just to document what we are doing on a weekly basis, to preserve that. And I think it's going to be as much for us to look back on and look with pride on, but it's also to give, of course, an inside look for those that care to take an interest. Of course, interest in crypto in general is at an all-time low. But as that starts to build back up, I'm excited to have this as a memorialized way for us to track our progress as we build.
100%. Well, perhaps it may be a good segue into just kind of talking more about what's happening within an Immutable. We shared some updates last week in respects to coffee and crypto, NFT.com. Not sure if there's anything that's significant that's kind of taking place over the past couple of weeks, but figured be helpful to kind of share what's happening on both of those businesses.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that one of the biggest is, we were just talking about this beforehand, we've onboarded some amazing new folks to our engineering organization in particular. And, I won't say his name just yet because we haven't announced it publicly, and maybe we should formally do that. But it's great to have another senior leader in the organization that can work with us as a partner as we move forward to a public beta. I just got off, one of my favorite things to do is jump on these design calls, and I really love the way NFT.com is starting to look and feel. I care a lot about that user experience and what that's going to be like. So we're setting up the first A/B tests. So when people are looking at different cards of NFTs, there's, we want to A/B test what that view is when you hover on a card, when you sort of mouse is above the card. Where is that price? Where's the buy now button? Where's the add to cart? One of my favorite features of NFT.com is actually the ability to add 5+ NFTs, like literally go shopping like you do in the familiar e-commerce way and be like, oh, I'd like this one, and 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 build a cart and then buy them all at once in like one transaction. That's awesome. That's like, but for me, that's very familiar to a Web 2 experience. I enjoy doing that in Web 3. I'm a huge degen. I think those that know me well know that, and I love buying and selling and using new NFTs and tracking new NFT projects. So I'm really excited, like that nervous, excited feeling for this to no longer be just us and our close friends and now our tribe of, Genesis key holders in the GKC testing this, but like random people from, Europe or Canada or, Mexico coming to NFT.com and testing it. And then so much of it is going to be that real-time feedback loop. Like one of the best things about, I think, product development is like everyone thinks it's over when you launch the product. I think from the outside, like, I'm referring to people like my mom, maybe she thinks like, oh, it's over. Congrats, your public beta. It's actually like, that's when the work just starts. It's like, okay, you've just done all of this hard work. It's taken us all of this time to get to this public beta point. And now we're going to be receiving all of this market feedback. And now the best companies do a really good job at taking that market feedback, feeding it into product requirements, feeding those product requirements back to the engineering team, and shipping again. So it's like the work doesn't actually stop at public beta. It actually like gets, I think, 2 times more intense because now we have real market feedback. And we're lucky in that we've had private beta feedback for a really long time, but that public feedback loop is going to be much greater at a much higher volume. And that's the only way you learn and improve. Like none of the apps that we all know and love today started off being killer. Like I remember first using Twitter. Twitter was a terrible user experience in 2008 when I first joined. And then like, obviously they fixed a lot of the kinks. I mean, people like, I remember getting the blue whale all the time. The joke was the blue whale, the site was down half of the time. They just couldn't handle the load. It's funny, Twitter like went down recently, so they're still experiencing that. But I can't wait to be on this other side. It's like the coming out party. We're no longer private. We're public beta. We're still very much in beta. I want to make that clear to everyone listening to this. Like it is a beta. Not everything is going to be perfect, but that's the thing with software. You don't wait till it's perfect to ship. You have to get in the habit of shipping and shipping often, and like stuff breaks and then you fix it. It's just for us, we are now working. And I want to mention that I won't say like our auditors, like part of the delay in getting NFT.com to market is because there's value being exchanged on this platform. We do get our code audited. We've had it audited and through the private beta process. We're going to get another audit done, or a re-audit, if you will, before the public beta, which is basically someone coming in and looking at the smart contracts, looking at the code, lifting the hood, saying, okay, this works the way it should be. There's no back doors like there was with FTX. There's no like God mode where we can like loot everyone's wallet or funds, but like this is safe. This is decentralized. And then you get like a nice report and a badge. Like we put the badge on our website, and then we will hopefully publish the report, like open source the report, maybe put it up on GitHub and link to it, and then all of that. So we're close. Like I don't have a date yet, but we're close. It's going to be this quarter. I can say that for sure. And then hopefully we'll have a date. We'll have a date soon.
And I think the biggest kind of like learning experience NFT.com's had over the past couple of months is just that rapid kind of release cycle there, which is obviously crucial for any startup and anything that's getting up and running and establishing its market presence. So
yeah, and to those like listening that have software companies or are aspiring software entrepreneurs, like the best piece of advice I think I've ever been given, what I've learned to do is you can't wait until you're perfect. Like I never would have gotten anywhere in business if I waited until the code base was perfect. When you first get users, it's, I remember one of the first software projects we released publicly in a previous business, we had a 50% refund rate, but we ended up getting it down to 5% and then even below 5%. And that's just because you improve. You learn like, wow, that really didn't work. Okay, this does work. And I think that's one of the best things about product development is ship early, ship often. And I think there's a guy, it's actually a really great book, Eric Ries, The Lean Startup, that talks about that feedback loop, which is like ship, learn, improve, ship, learn, improve, ship, learn, improve. And it's like, if you get that cycle right, you can stay really lean and you can move really, really quickly. And the best companies in the world, like Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, like there are constantly A/B testing. Some of them tens of thousands of ongoing A/B tests, like button sizes, conversion funnels, just to get that user experience perfect. So like all the apps that we know and love, they didn't start that way. Like they got that way through a long period of time. And yeah, like we're not going to be perfect. We're going to be good. We're going to be really good at launch. It's a really good experience. I enjoy the experience of NFT.com right now. Obviously I'm biased too because it's ours and I've enjoyed building it and I'm really proud of it. But I know it's going to be so much better 6 months from now. So it's like, with the first version, feel free to tell us our baby's ugly. But yeah, we need to be receptive to that feedback and then take it and improve.
It's definitely come a long way. So Jordan, I think that kind of pretty comprehensive kind of commentary there about like NFT.com. I guess the other thing that's kind of cooking in the kitchen, if you want to say, is coffee and crypto. So last week we kind of shared some of the updates there as far as subscriber growth. Also the podcast has come out. Anything you want to also kind of comment in respects to what we're doing around coffee and crypto?
Yeah, again, like the significance of this, and I love that we're doing this because it's really demonstrating that the core DNA of Immutable Holdings as a whole is I think two really important things. One, the ability to build a product that works and ship and get it to market. And then two, the ability to build a channel or a marketing funnel for the products that we build. And I think that coffee and crypto, our ability to demonstrate that we can grow that to tens of thousands of people, to sustain high open rates, to launch a podcast, to get people to listen to it. This is all just, for me, confidence building, and we're getting better. We're by no means perfect at this. There's certainly others better than us at this, but we are getting really, really, really good at getting people on that mailing list for as cheap as humanly possible, and then getting them to open the emails on a regular basis. And our goal is, I'm pretty direct, like I'll point to the fences here. We want to run the largest daily newsletter in crypto, period. Bar none. We want to be the largest. We want more people consuming Coffee and Crypto on a daily basis than any other news source in the crypto space. And then we hope that people also consume the podcast form and the video form. And then obviously that's immensely strategic to be able to, not so intrusively suggest, like, check out NFT.com, and then guide those people to that. So, not massive updates. Of course, the list is growing so quickly. So, we continue to hit big milestones with that. I just really love the editorial. One of my favorite bits from this week, if you are listening to this, please go to coffeeandcrypto.com. And if you just see the box, you can click read. You could click read the content before you subscribe. Go read our Martin Luther King Day edition. I think that the intro to that is so funny. I actually laughed out loud doing it. So that particular one, I just think our team, kudos to the team that writes that and gets it out on a daily basis. I really just join our weekly editorial calls where we brainstorm subject lines and the various content. But as crypto news is happening, we have to change on the fly, right? It's like, oh, that subject line's out the window because this just happened. We're going with this subject line. So there's a lot of thought going into that, and it's really, really, really funny. And I can say that because I'm not writing it, because I'm not that funny, but the guys that are writing it are crushing it, and it's good. Podcast is I think the first 2, maybe 3 episodes are live. Hopefully more to come on a pretty regular cadence.
I think it's important to emphasize that this is an entertaining take on the crypto and digital asset.
Right. If you're listening to this format is quite serious. Coffee and Crypto is very playground-esque. It's like very playful, very fun. It's like the non-boring. It is the opposite of reading the Wall Street Journal. We do not refer to people as Mr. Billy Baxter. We're just more like, hey, our boy Baxter did this. And it's as like your funny friend is reading you the crypto news while making you laugh. And it's like a great, for us, it was like a great way we don't want to be like force feeding people like crypto news in a very boring way. There's enough people doing that. Like, go listen to a podcast with Mark Andreessen, really, mentally stimulating, but like very boring and mundane. You could fall asleep listening to it. And I don't, because I love them and I'm not,
I was going to say, actually, I go to bed listening to those.
Yeah. But I really enjoy listening to those. It's not funny. It's not like entertainment. It's not necessarily what you want to do when you're looking to like blow off some steam. And reading Coffee and Crypto it's like the perfect start of the morning thing to do. So yeah, check that out. That's going to continue to evolve, and I'm excited to share more about how that'll evolve into its own product funnel and its own product strategy, because there's so many things you can do with it right now, right? I think on this update, we've shown how Coffee and Crypto can integrate with NFT.com, but what else outside of NFT.com could that integrate with? I think stay tuned. There's so much more we can be doing with that, and hopefully we will be doing that in the quarters to come.
And like to your point you made before, it's a nice kind of friendly welcome mat to people that are new to crypto, that are looking to get an interesting take on the whole space. So it's going to be interesting to see what else could be built on top of that.
Nailed that. It's like so many people are like, where do I start? And I'm like, honestly, just read Coffee and Crypto for like a month every single day, and you'll have a pretty good idea of like what's gone on and what you need to be paying attention to.
Well, hey, Jordan, I think we'll probably wrap it up here. Obviously, a lot of great coverage, this week. Thank you for kind of sharing all those updates on the Immutable front. But before we go, I do want to highlight a comment that we received on our last week's video. And just as a reminder, to folks listening here, if you find this to be helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And definitely leave comments, because we're reading them. So Jordan, from last week, we had a comment from a viewer named Alberto Esena, and the quote here is, "It's nice to be able to follow the evolution of the company almost in real time. Thank you."
Oh, that's really nice. Alberto, thank you so much for the comment. I hope you watch this and you can hear your shout out. And if you're listening to this, please leave a comment. Please leave feedback. One, so we know you're watching and we have motivation to continue to make these. We hope they're not just falling on deaf ears. And two, that's exactly our goal, Alberto, is to continue to document the evolution of this company as we build it. Like, watch us build a company in real time, and as a publicly traded company, that's unique. Yeah, I wish all the companies that I own stock in did this, and I could get this from the CEO and then leave a question and have the CEO answer it in a week later. Maybe we can set the new standard for that if this gets big enough. So we're going to keep creating these videos regardless, even if 5 people watch them. It's good discipline for us to do this every single week.
Well, Jordan, I think that is it. So for
one more thing, Billy, and it has to do with this thing over here. The Buffalo Bills play this weekend. We're both from upstate New York, from around the upstate New York area. Any predictions for this game? It's the division round playoff. Buffalo Bills are playing the Cincinnati Bengals. We were supposed to face the Cincinnati Bengals during the regular season. Of course, a terrible thing happened to one of the players on the Buffalo Bills team, Damar Hamlin, who had a cardiac arrest in the middle of the game. Thank God he's okay. He's walking around. He's actually, I read, in and out of the locker room, hanging out, not quite in team meetings. But he's thank God he's okay. But this is going to be now the first time the Buffalo Bills face the Cincinnati Bengals. Any predictions for this game, Billy?
Well, I think it's a pretty obvious one, Jordan. Go Bills. Obviously, it'd be nice to see the Bills make it to the AFC championship game. But it's going to be really interesting because, as you pointed out there, they were supposed to play a couple weeks ago, and then that game had to get postponed or ultimately was suspended. So, yeah, a lot of emotions are going to be on the line this weekend. So
my emotions are on the line, man. I'm freaking out. For those that know me, I'm a diehard Buffalo Bills fan. I love to say you can take the boy out of Buffalo, but you can't take the Buffalo out of the boy. I went to high school there. I started college there, didn't finish. And I've always loved going back to Buffalo. It's one of my favorite things to do. Go back, get the chicken wings, catch up with old friends, family, and then go to Orchard Park on a cold fall day or winter day and tailgate. And it's just it's a massive part of our culture. It's a massive part of the identity of people who come from that city. And the city cares so much about this team. And, it's been heartbreaking to be a Bills fan my entire life because since I'm born, we've been to 4 Super Bowls. We lost 4 Super Bowls. We finally look good. We've got a great coach in Sean McDermott. We've got a great quarterback in Josh Allen and a great team of people around him. This is the year. If we're going to do it, we really have to do it this year. A quick note, I'm actually flying to Buffalo for this. I've been really well behaved and haven't been going to Bills games because we've been so busy building. And I've been staying focused. So I didn't go to any regular season games, which is a record for me because I used to, even when I was living in Budapest, I would fly from Budapest to Buffalo. That's how diehard I am to watch the games, or stay up in the middle of the night, even in Budapest, to watch them. And I'm nervous, excited for this, but just looking at it, the Bills are the better team. If we can put pressure on Joe Burrow, if we can keep pressure on them, I like to think that the Bills are going to come out of this with a victory, make it to the AFC Championship game, and finally advance to the Super Bowl this year. And then, we'll give some predictions. But maybe in the next couple Immutable Holdings weekly updates, next week I'm either going to be really happy or really not happy. So, update to come and Jordan's reaction on the game next week for the Buffalo Bills. But go Bills. And sorry, Billy, I had to throw that in.
I appreciate the passion there. And for folks that are listening and need a second take, Jordan is a very diehard Buffalo Bills fan. So I'm glad we let him, kind of run with that. So for all you joining this week in the Buffalo Bills, thank you very much. I mean, the weekly roundup with Immutable Holdings. Thank you for joining. And we look forward to speaking with you again next week. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.